So yeah, my name's Daniel. I work for a company called Datadog, and I'm about to reveal to you today the terrible secret of serverless. The terrible secret of serverless. I'm going to start with a meme. All good talks start with a meme. This one's a little bit old. It's a couple of years now. There is no cloud. It's just someone else's computer. You've probably heard this one, right? There is no cloud, just someone else's computer. Just as relevant today as it was then, but I'm going to update it for our brave new serverless world. There is no serverless. It's just functions as a service. That's all serverless is. Functions as a service, or FAS. Okay, I've said that out loud. It's terrible. We're going to keep calling it functions as a service. The important thing to remember is that FAS is not magic. It's built on the same principles and paradigms you already know and love. For example, if you've done any sort of like ETL or batch processing since the 1980s, you've encountered event-driven architecture. Event-driven architecture is the paradigm upon which functions as a service or serverless is built. And just because it's called serverless, it doesn't mean there aren't servers. Resource utilization is still a thing, and it's still a thing you need to think about, even if you're not thinking about it in the traditional way. What do I mean by that? Well, you still need to think about memory, RAM, right? Now, you don't need to think about how many sticks of it are you actually putting into a motherboard, but you do need to consider how much RAM do you need to make my function go, all right? Resource utilization, still a thing. CPU, compute. As anybody who's ever used like a mainframe will tell you, this is familiar. You're actually purchasing compute when you run functions as a service. Again, that's not new. But there is something here that is new, and that's time. Just to complicate things, we're going to add time as a resource. Not just hours, not just minutes, but milliseconds. You need to purchase milliseconds. Time is so important, I'm going to spend another 15 seconds on it. The simple fact of the matter is that in the world of serverless, this is actually the most critical thing. Startup time, run time, callback, response, all those other things you can wave away, but you need to buy time. Who do you buy it from? Probably one of the incumbent providers. They all have functions as a service inside of their offering, except in the case of Amazon, they call it Lambda. Presumably someone there is a big Half-Life fan. Now, they're all basically the same thing. They're like dump trucks. For a given size of truck, how much stuff you want to put in it, how long you want to rent that truck for, all right? They're all kind of the same thing, all right? So what's different about them? Well, the operating system, not that you get to choose it, is going to be different from provider to provider. Same thing with the underlying hardware. You don't get to choose it, but it's going to be different. So the differentiator then becomes programming languages, language support. In the world of Amazon, you get JavaScript. That's the primary one. But you also get Java and Python and like C# and some other stuff too. And it runs on top of AWS Linux in a remarkable display of transparency that you don't get with any of the other providers. In the world of Microsoft, you get JavaScript, but also C#, F#, and if you're willing to go unsupported, you can even write your functions in Bash, which is really fun. Absolutely, go try it out. You're going to enjoy yourself. In the world of Google, you get JavaScript. I hope that's what you wanted, because that's what you get. In the world of IBM, and this is a bizarro land one, you get JavaScript. Now, why did I include this on here? Well, OpenWhisk, which is kind of cool, so check it out. But if you're interested in running FAS and you're interested in trying something new, try IBM Service Out. It's actually really fun to play with. Look, I ran the numbers, okay? They're all basically the same for given workloads. That means commodity pricing is in effect. The market has spoken, all right? So how do you actually make a decision then about which provider to go with? Well, if you have to write it in F#, you're not going to be running it in Google. And if you're already part of the Amazon walled ecosystem, might as well stay there. And if you're a Microsoft shop writing Microsoft software for Microsoft clients, don't rock the boat, right? The important thing to remember in the world of serverless is that there is no magic. You still need to think about resources, you still need to think about your application, and you need to do it in much more in-depth, more intimate ways than you ever have before. That's it for me. Thank you very much.